Hi everybody, welcome to Southampton Vampire By Night, guide to the Mind's Eye Theatre rules. Today we're going to be talking about the challenge system. The challenge system found within the Mind's Eye Theatre rulebook is a non-contact system. This means at no point during the game should you have any concerns of having physical contact with another player. They replaced this physical interaction, which in other Larp system normally involves Nerf weaponry, Larp swords or airsoft, and they replace it with a simple rock, paper, scissors challenge. Right, so I'm hoping everybody understands the rock, paper, scissors, but if not, I'll go through it now. Rock, paper, scissors, how does it work? Basically, you've got rock, paper, and scissors. Now, in the system, rock is loses to paper, beats scissors, and draws against rock. Paper beats rock, loses against scissors, draws against paper, and scissors loses against rock, defeats paper, and draws against scissors. Right, so now you've got the basics of the rock, paper, scissors. For you to be able to represent your character, they've made a system where in other games, let's say if you want to be a sword fighter, you actually have to in real life be reasonably good wielding a sword, because otherwise when you go up against an opponent in another Larp system who's waving a sword at you, it is a test of your out of character skill. So in this, we get rid of all of that. You can be anybody you want to be. You can portray any kind of vampire you want to play and become that vampire 100%. And how they do that is they have a test pool. And the test pool is created by looking at your attributes, skills, and then something called a wild card. Now the attributes are based on your physical, which I could have done a better pose for it or something. Yeah, your mental abilities, which is all about, ooh, look, a clue, and social, which is, what I'm doing now, trying to speak to loads of people and make you all love me. So those are the attributes. So you've got your mental, social, physical. Each of those will have a numbers assigned to them when you're doing character creation, and later on when you gain more experience and XP in the game, you can also add more points to those skills. The attributes are one of your most important, basically things on your character sheet, because they do come up a lot in a lot of different challenges. Next is the skills. Now the skills are what your character has learned. This represents things like, when you went to school, your education you had, things you learned off your mate, driving a car, subterfuge, security, computers. These are all the skills, and they, as I say, represent your character's learning, education. And the last thing is the wild cards. Now the wild cards are where it starts to get fun, and probably why Mind's Eye Theatre, named them wild cards, is because they represent all of those fun things that your character could have on them, or situational bonuses, disciplines, merits. There's loads of factors in the game that can give you those little extra bonuses to make your character truly unique and different from everybody else's character who may have similar attributes and skills. So that covers the test pool, which, as I say, is the number represented by your attributes, the number next to your skills, and then any numbers added by your wildcard. That makes the pool, and that pool is then used to do your test. Challenges themselves come in two distinct types. You've got a static challenge and then an opposed challenge. An opposed challenge is when you're going up against another player, NPC, an opponent. And a static challenge is when you are going up against an obstacle, barrier, or something in the game that's been predetermined by the ref before the game started. A static challenge in itself has that number assigned to it, and then also it has the factors put to it that says what skills or what test pool you need to generate to get past it. For example, if you had a locked door, there's 3 ways to get past that locked door. You can find the key, open the door and remove the challenge completely. Or you can try to physically break down the door. And the last one is you could try to pick the lock on the door. Now those two challenges, the physically breaking it down and picking the lock, they come in 2 separate types of static challenges. The first one of breaking the door down would be a physical challenge. So you would compare your physical attributes Any wild cards or skills that may assist you. So in this case, the wild card may be that you've got a crowbar with you, which will give you some little bonuses when you're trying to pry that door or break it down. The second one may require you to have a skill to even attempt the static challenge, and in this case that would be trying to pick the lock. You would require some points in the security skill to make that attempt. And if you had, let's say, a wild card of a set of lock pits on you, that could once again give you more bonuses to be able to overcome this obstacle. So either way, your character has 3 options to try and get past that door, and it's up to you to decide which one you wish to take. One of the other things regarding static challenges is that you don't actually need to have a ref present to actually do the challenges. Because you have the test pool required, or the test number that you need to be in front of you, you can actually carry out this test with another player who's nearby. All you require for them is to carry out a quick rock, paper, scissors challenge with you, and then compare the results of that challenge with your test pool and the static test pool. An opposed challenge is when you want to go up against another character in the game. To initiate an opposed challenge, you need to go approach that player and then inform them of what challenges you're going to be doing. So in this scenario, I wish to inform another character that I wish to initiate a physical challenge, and I'm going to attempt to try and punch them. So the great thing about the Mind's Eye Theatre rules is you don't actually have to physically go up and punch someone. What you do now is you refer to those trusty old rock, paper, scissors. So before initiating that rock, paper, scissors test, both you and your opponent need to work out their test pools. So you understand at the moment that it's a physical challenge you're going to be doing, and that they're the defender and you're the attacker. Now, after generating your test pools and adding in anything like the wildcard factor and also any skills that are relevant, you do the rock, paper, scissors challenge. Now, the outcomes of this will greatly affect what happens next. So I'm going to go through each of those one by one, including something that I haven't mentioned earlier, something called an exceptional success. So, in this scenario, let's say I, as the attacker, win the rock, paper, scissors challenge, and my test pool is higher than my opponent's. In this scenario, I get an exceptional success. That means that on my character sheet, when I look down the rules for disciplines or attacks that I'm doing, some of them have bonuses or extra effects if you get an exceptional success. At this point, that becomes active. Let's say I attack my opponent, I win the challenge, but my test pool is less than my opponent's, at which point I am successful still, but I do not get an exceptional success. If on this scenario, once again, I was to draw against my opponent, if my test pool is higher than theirs, then I'm successful. If it is less than their test pool, then I fail the challenge. And if I lose the rock, paper, scissors challenge, I lose the test. Sometimes things don't go your way, but not to worry. There's something called a retest. Retests come in many different forms. They come in things like willpower, archetype, disciplines and merits, and also if you're successful on an overbid. When you declare a retest, both you and your opponent now need to redo the rock, paper, scissors challenge and then compare those results again. It's important to note that when you use a willpower on a retest, that is the last retest you can do in that round. One of the other things you can do when you're doing an opposed challenge is you can try to attempt an overbid. Now, an overbid is something where you believe that you have double the amount of double the amount in your test pool than your opponent. So let's say in this scenario, I've got a test pool of 12. I'll be looking for my opponent to have a test pool of 6 or less. If this is the case, then I can ask for a free retest. One of the options open to you during an opposed challenge is you can relent to your attacker. By relenting to your attacker, you forgo the need to do the rock, paper, scissors challenge, and all you and your opponent need to do instead is just compare your test pools. If you, as the aggressor, have a higher test pool than your defending opponent, you get an exceptional success. If you have less than theirs, then you just gain a normal success. It's important to remember whilst carrying out retest that you're only allowed to ever use 2 in any round. So, the willpower retest is always the last retest you can use. but the one used before that can be any of the ones previously mentioned. Thank you very much for joining us today, and that ends our video on the challenge system rules found within the Mind's Eye Theatre rulebook. I hope you found this video informative and useful, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much.